Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. Boy, oh boy.
That Walmart, though.
I wasn't sad until you said that includes Sam's Club, and I went, oh.
Well, the same companies.
That makes me sad, but
It's all
tell
good,
people
though.
why I'm talking about Walmart.
So yesterday, in true Sunday fashion, I ordered groceries for the week. And I took the liberty of ordering myself some headbands. I was quite excited about them because my hair is an unruly Chewbacca. Imagine my dismay when the groceries arrived and my headbands were not there. And the other couple of things that probably would have shared the bag with the headbands also were not there.
So they missed an entire bag of groceries.
It probably got lost under a seat in the driver's car, whatever. It's never been a big deal before.
Driver's wife got some new headbands.
Yeah. And some Alka-Seltzer to calm their shame. Anyway, so it's never been a problem before because the Walmart app in the past has always just let me go in and be like, hey, you forgot some of my shit. Refund it. And it's never been a problem ever before. But this time, I put in a claim, and it takes me to the chat support where my only option is to have them call me in 10 minutes. This is weird and suspicious. Then today, I finally went and I did it. I told them to call me in 10 minutes. They call, and it's, oh, I'd be happy to offer you a $5 credit. Hold on a second. You're going to offer me a $5 credit for $17.94 worth of items? That's what you're going to do today?
And of course, what they do at places like that, there's like 100 people and they each have one supervisor total for that group of 100 people.
Right.
So if 3 people ask to speak to a supervisor, you're screwed. You're never getting through.
Right. So he put me on hold, and I was on hold for 15 minutes. And then he comes back, and he's like, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to reach a supervisor. And my thoughts were like, sure you haven't. Sure. So the supervisor's either, 1, as useless as you, or 2, you didn't bother to contact them. So I got mad. Threatened to never shop at Walmart again. A whole bunch of other stuff. Sam's Club, too.
You went Karen on him.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I said, we could just resolve this all now if you would just refund me for the items that your stupid driver didn't bother to deliver.
You better keep an eye on the account and make sure that the money goes back.
It did.
Well, like,
It's sitting in there as a Walmart crime.
felt like the dude was testing to see how far you'd push it. And I don't know if that was a test to determine the veracity of what you were saying, or if it was just a test to see if he'd go away. I'm leaning towards the second one.
If he'd have offered like a $20 credit to just shut up and go away, that's fine. It's almost the same value as what was there. Even a $15 credit, I would have gotten over it. But a $5 credit when there's $18 worth of stuff that you didn't deliver?
One of the things that home delivery has created since the pandemic is fraud.
Right.
Lots of fraud.
Right.
It's why I'd be on those Amazon subreddits and people would be bitching and moaning about different things. And the way that something's up with their account is their experience is entirely different than anybody I've ever met.
Oh, you mean like the people who say that when they order something from Amazon and it comes Amazon Prime and then they return it, that it's taking them weeks and months to get a refund?
Those people.
And you get a refund 35 seconds after I drop it off at UPS?
Exactly. I always know, like, when you go for your appointment and then you come home and you're going to drop things off, I always know when you drop it off because it instantly texts me to tell me that I got a credit. And I'm like, oh, she must have dropped that off. But yet these people claim that it takes them months to get a refund and that they have to call multiple times and they have to threaten and blah, 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 blah. I'm canceling Prime. Want to bet Prime canceled them?
Probably.
And it's just their experience is not like anything anyone I've ever spoken to has had. I've even talked to Maddie about it, and he knows a lot about what goes on with Amazon, and he's never heard of that either. So it's not like that's a thing that they do that people know about. It's just more on the hush. They have no reason to send you a box full of bricks, for instance. That just sounds like somebody who received the package back didn't do their job and open it and check it. They just stuck it back out on the shelf.
You mean like that broken fan that we got that one time?
Yeah.
It still had the return label from the other person that returned it in the box.
But that doesn't make it a scam.
There's definitely people who are out there scamming things like Amazon and Walmart and saying that they didn't get their whole order when they did.
Yeah, it's the fraud has gone way up, and these businesses have to come up with a way to deal with it. How I would deal with it is to just keep an eye on how often a certain person is asking, because I hate to say it, but it's like the person that said to me, oh, no offense, Mike, but if someone was having an affair, they wouldn't be smart enough to not drive with a person and not sit with a person or not go some of the time. They wouldn't be smart enough to do that. They'd want to spend time with that person, so they'd just go and do it.
You're saying
the return way.
Starbucks is trying to defraud Walmart. They're going to have a missing item in every single order.
Or a lot of their orders. But the problem that they have will be a recurring one. It's not going to be that the corn on the cob came and it was rotten. And then another time, oh, you forgot to give me my brownie mix. And then another time, oh, I asked for Lay's potato chips and they gave me Walmart brand potato chips. I just want the money. That's the difference in price. That kind of stuff. But if that's the approach they use, that's always going to be what it is. And I would watch for that stuff. And then I would kindly no longer offer refunds to those kind of people. But it
seems to me like they're going to make every single person call into customer service now who's had any kind of issue.
Trying to cut the bleeding and question people. But from what you described, they did not provide that person with a script for dealing with it to find out and probe, to find out if it was real or fake.
It was so frustrating because, okay, you go into the order and then it asks you what items were missing. So I select the 3 things that were missing. Then it directs me, tells me how much credit I should get, and then directs me to the chat. So I've already told them what was missing and from what order.
Yeah.
The customer service dude didn't appear to have that information.
Didn't even look. He had it, but he just didn't even look.
And then he was like, when he was finally trying to process the refund, I need to know what items were missing. And I read them off to him at like a cow auctioneer pace. Like literally as fast as I could talk, I read them off to him, and somehow he knew exactly what they were and exactly how much they cost.
But this is why companies have to raise prices and why companies aren't making a profit.
Yeah, I do. I understand that.
Just deal with it and go with it.
Quite frankly, like our DoorDash situation. If we'd have had a lot of returns or a lot of issues on previous orders.
We went through a run of 4 orders where we didn't get the cheesecake and we didn't get the soup.
Right before it, though, if you'll remember, the one right before the cheesecake that broke Camel's back, our entire order had been delivered somewhere wrong, and they had to refund the whole thing.
But here's the thing. Each time, like if you called in and you were like, oh, the cheesecake wasn't with the order. Maybe the cheesecake was like $8. And you're like, oh, they gave us a $20 credit. That's on them.
Right.
You didn't ask for that.
No.
All you asked for them to do was take care of the item that was missing. And then they blame you for too much dollars of credit.
Where the order wasn't delivered at all.
Yeah.
They can see GPS-wise where that order was delivered. And it was not delivered to us.
Yeah, it was far away.
Why is that being held against me?
Yeah, it's really stupid, but I'm glad it got settled the positive way.
Now we can still stop it.
This could have been an interesting conversation because I would have been begging to go back to Sam's Club because I like Sam's Club. We had mentioned in last week's show that we were going to be going to the Bananas ball game on Friday and that we were going to football game on Saturday. And we did go to both. We had a psychopath lady behind us the whole entire time screaming, yelling every single lyric to every single song that they played.
At the top of her shrill little lungs.
Wearing hardly any clothes at all. Bouncing around, recording TikTok.
She hit you how many times?
Banged into me so many times they lost count. The lady the night before could have learned a thing or two about how to behave in public from that little baby.
From that like 10-month-old baby.
The lady wasn't even smart enough to flirt with the men that were around her so that they wouldn't get upset.
You into the party so that you're not mad about the party.
Right. Her and her friend. They didn't even try.
19 and she was wasted, so I'm sure that played into it.
Yeah, and I sure hope they weren't driving because that's bad. But the football game was fun. That indoor football stuff is crazy. I don't understand 98% of the rules that are changed from NFL.
You need to learn the rules because I don't know enough about anything to know that something's weird. And then I can't ask you questions if you don't know the rule.
True. And I will make sure of that. But it was so crazy. Like they would score, then we would score, then they would score, then we would score.
It was such a close game.
It was until we scored like 3 times in a row and kind of just buried them. They choked at the end. The other team choked at the end. Made a few
Or Rattlers.
They made a few really boneheaded mistakes that cost them the entire game. It was crazy. Talk about costing yourself. Look at the Panthers. Yeah, look at the Panthers.
Now they're having to claw themselves back from a hole in a Game 7 when Edmonton has all this momentum. We'll see.
Will there be riots if Edmonton loses?
In Edmonton.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So football was a good time. I'd do that again. I recommend if you got an indoor football league team near where you live, go. Definitely go. Do you agree? Because it's just
I really don't like football. I think it's the dumbest sport that we've ever gone to see live. And this I actually quite enjoyed.
Field's only 50 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. And part of how they stop them is slamming them into the boards. Once they slam them into the boards, then they stop.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, that one guy, that interception in the end zone, with one hand, just reached up with one hand and pulled that thing in.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They were quite athletic. But then cheerleaders, okay, what do they call them?
Girls.
Hawk girls. That's what it was. They were like 14 years old.
They weren't actually 14.
Hell, sure looked like they were.
They were just very young looking adults.
All right. How'd they find an entire team of very young looking adults?
You only pointed out like 3 or 4 people.
Nah, it was the whole team.
Remember, there was the ones that you were checking out.
There were none that I was checking out. They were like 12. That'd be illegal. How dare you say that?
Uh-huh.
But I am out of things to talk about. I just don't know how that happened, but I'm out of things.
I can't figure out how the entire discussion about the bananas and everything was relating to, speaking of way far away. So what you said.
The Knights game was 40 minutes from home. That's way far away. Speaking of way far away, did you miss that? Obviously missed that.
Whatever you say, man. Good night, everyone.
Not. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.